There was a time when white rhinos walked freely across vast African lands. They were not rare. They were not hunted in silence. They simply existed. No one thought they would disappear. But extinction does not arrive suddenly. It arrives quietly, one decision at a time, one ignored warning after another. Today, only 2 northern white rhinos remain. Both are female. There is no male left to bring this species back naturally. This is not a story from the distant past. This is happening now. And it forces us to ask a question we have avoided for too long. Was this inevitable? Or did we choose this path? This is the story of a species we almost lost, and the science trying to bring it back. Not long ago, the northern white rhino was part of everyday life in Central and Eastern Africa. They lived across vast grasslands and open savannas in what we now call Uganda, South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and parts of Central Africa. These animals were giants, but they were peaceful. They moved slowly, fed on grass, and stayed close to water. For centuries, their size protected them. They had no natural predators, and for a long time, humans were not a threat either. In the 1960s, more than 2,000 northern white rhinos still existed in the wild. Conservation was not urgent. Extinction felt impossible. The world believed that something so large, so ancient, could never vanish. But nature does not disappear in one moment. It fades when warnings are ignored. The decline did not begin with climate or disease. It began with humans. As human populations expanded, roads cut through forests, and weapons became more powerful. The northern white rhino lost something vital: safety. Poaching increased, not for survival, but for profit. Rhino horns were hunted for status, for myths, for money. One horn was worth more than a human life. By the 1970s and 1980s, armed conflict spread across their habitat. Conservation collapsed before the rhinos did. Protected areas vanished. Law enforcement weakened, and poachers moved freely. Every decade, their numbers fell faster. 2,000 became hundreds. Hundreds became dozens. Warnings were issued, but they came too late. By the early 2000s, the northern white rhino had almost disappeared from the wild, not because we lacked knowledge, but because we delayed action. By the early 2000s, the northern white rhino had vanished from the wild. Search teams found nothing, no tracks, no herds, no signs of life. What remained were only memories, and a few survivors living under human protection. In a final attempt to save them, the last northern white rhinos were moved to guarded reserves and zoos. It was already too late. Breeding failed. One by one, the males died. The silence grew heavier with every loss, until only 2 remained: Najin and Fatu, a mother and her daughter, both female. With no male left, natural reproduction ended. For the first time, a species stood on the edge of extinction, while humans watched, fully aware. This was no longer a conservation story. It was a moral one. When natural reproduction ended, science became the last option. Years before the final collapse, scientists had already begun collecting and preserving cells, eggs, sperm, and genetic material, frozen in time, inside biobanks. At first, these efforts felt uncertain. No one knew if such technology could ever bring back a functionally extinct species. But science does not move in sudden miracles. It moves through patience and repeated failure. Researchers developed artificial fertilization techniques using eggs from the last two females, Najin and Fatu. The goal was simple, but extremely difficult. Create viable embryos of the northern white rhino. Every attempt mattered, because there would be no second chance. This was not about bringing back the past. It was about proving that extinction does not always have to be final. The northern white rhino exists only in laboratories and in frozen embryos, no larger than a grain of sand. Created through years of genetic research, scientists now face one final challenge: finding surrogate mothers, southern white rhinos, to carry a species that is not their own. Even if this succeeds, the future remains fragile. A few births cannot restore what was lost. Habitats are gone, trust is broken, and time cannot be reversed. This raises a question science alone cannot answer. If we can bring back a species, but fail to protect the world it needs to survive, have we truly saved it? The story of the northern white rhino is not just about extinction. It is about responsibility. Technology may offer hope, but only humanity can decide what kind of future that hope belongs to, and whether we choose to protect life before silence becomes permanent. This documentary was brought to you by Magic of Life. All research presented is copyright safe and assisted with AI tools for narration. We strive to share stories that educate, inspire, and protect wildlife. Subscribe to our channel to explore more wildlife stories and witness how science and humanity can work together. Remember, hope is only meaningful when we choose to act.